at Orcox Communications.
Good evening and welcome to Current Issues. I'm your host, Hesham Tillawi. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we will take you to Palestine again. We're going to tell you the story of a little town called Na'alin that is fighting for its life. On this program we had told you about the wall that Israel is building around Palestinian towns. Well, they started this wall about, I would say, 5 years ago, and the wall is going through Palestine, circling Palestinian towns and cities. And for the last 2 months, I would say, they have been stealing the land of the town of Na'alin. The people could not take it anymore, so they took the matter into their own hands and decided to confront the Israeli authorities or the Israeli army with their bulldozers, who are basically stealing their land, wanting to build a 25-foot concrete wall to separate the people of the village of Na'alin from their land. Palestinians, most of them, who live in villages are farmers. They depend on farming their land for their livelihood. Israel is taking that away in hope that this will destroy the Palestinian spirit and force them to leave their towns, because there is no more land for them to live off of. We're going to show you a clip, ladies and gentlemen, of what's going on in the town of Na'alin, and then we are going to go live to the town of Na'alin to speak with one of its activists there, Mesleh, who has been very instrumental in getting the story out to the world. And after that, we will come back. After you see the clips, then we will come back and speak with Mesleh, and also we will be speaking with Grace Oyama, Japanese journalist on special assignment by the American Free Press. We will be speaking with her from Ramallah. She has visited the town. She has worked with Mesleh on getting the story out. And in about 10 or 15 minutes, actually, we will have them with us. But now, let's go to the clip to show you what the town of Na'alin is going through. Let's go to the videotape.
Are you filming?
I'm a resident of Na'alin village in the west of Ramallah in Palestine. This village is located within the borders of 1967. The land of Na'alin village was connected to the city of Lod, which is now an Israeli city. During the war of 1948, the village lost most of its land. Now we live in an isolated area, completely isolated from other regions. Today the wall is confiscating the bulk of the village's existing open land. As farmers, traders, and shopkeepers, we are suffering from this problem. This problem is what makes us live without hope. We live with no hope. Once they take this land, where will we grow? Where will we put the olive trees that give us the oil that we live from? Confiscating this land has destroyed the economics of this village, has destroyed us as humans, as people.
These big, huge bulldozers are paid for by the American taxpayer. Is helping these European Jews who came to the land of Palestine to steal these people's land. These are Israeli soldiers armed with guns, throwing tear gas, grenades. As you see, the Palestinians are unarmed, trying to stop these big bulldozers, while these thugs, Jewish thugs, I wonder what this picture, who's the victim? The one with the gun? If you listen to CNN and Fox, they want you to believe that those people, those thugs with guns, the Israeli soldiers, these Jewish soldiers with guns, CNN and Fox want you to know that they are the victims, while the people running unarmed The town has been going through this for over 2 months now. And resistance intensified in the last few days. Where the town was under total curfew until this past Tuesday. Every bullet they are shooting, it is paid for by U.S. taxpayers. And every Palestinian knows that. Everyone in the world knows that except the American people themselves. His uniform, his gun, his shoe, his boots, everything is paid for by U.S. taxpayers.
Good.
يا ابن الزناد
طلع قاعد يطلع ايوه هسمد قاعد هسمد
Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, imagine you go through this, and you know these pictures. I don't believe you see that on CNN or Fox. I really have not. I don't know if any of the national media outlets had covered this or not. I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean anything because I don't really watch these networks anyhow. So I'm not really sure how CNN covered that. They're calling for medics. You hear those bulldozers are still going even though people are falling. As you see, Palestinians are unarmed. And it's the Israeli Jewish soldiers who have the guns and shooting at these people who are trying to protect their land. He's hit, he's saying his leg is hit.
אני בוגד? מי בא לפה לגנוב זיתים? מי בא לגנוב לאנשים את האוכל מהפה שלהם? אתה רוצה שתבוא איתה היום? יש לך תעודת צלם? אל צלם אותי.
This is a real front line, ladies and gentlemen, except a front line where only one side has the guns.
Locked down and under siege for the last 3 days, all roads into the village of Na'alin have been sealed by the Israeli army. Declared a closed military zone, no journalists can get inside, but these pictures were smuggled out for Al Jazeera. Scores of troops keeping Palestinians off the streets. There have been scores of injuries from rubber-coated steel bullets since the curfew was imposed last Friday. Many more injuries have been caused by tear gas canisters and smoke inhalation.
Last night, even like at 2 in the morning, the Israeli army came in the village, start throwing sound bombs, tear gas inside the houses, and you could hear lots of kids screaming and crying all night.
In the village's one clinic, medical supplies are running out. Food and cooking gas is also running low. People with medical conditions needing treatment for diabetes or dialysis for kidney complaints are not being allowed out. The mosque inside the village has broadcast a message today telling people to go out onto the streets, to demonstrate, to try and break the siege and break the curfew. But at the same time, Israeli army jeeps have been touring the village, warning residents they have to stay inside. The curfew is still in effect. Running fights between the villagers defying the curfew have been taking place all through the day with the Israeli security forces.
If they take their land, if they besiege them like this, they are putting them literally in a cantons, in a ghetto, totally closed from here by settlers' roads and from the other side by the wall and the settlements that you see here. So what's left for the people in this village? It is a way that people understand this is the way on the long term to push the people out of their village.
Demonstrators on the outskirts of the village are also being quickly dealt with by the Israeli army. They came to protest about the way the Israeli separation barrier is being built on Palestinian land, but the voice of protest was quickly silenced. David Chater, Al Jazeera, Na'alin.
Occupation is a fluid term that can be easily manipulated by the powerful and occupying powers. When the occupied is portrayed as violent and the occupier as victim, then democracy and justice have to be redefined. If the international community cannot stop Israel's apartheid wall and the destruction of people and their livelihood, then humanity is at stake. In June 2000, and while the international community is pushing to promote freedom and install democracies throughout the Middle East, Israel decides to reinforce its occupation by encircling the West Bank and Palestinian towns with a separation barrier that is meant to choke the Palestinian population and deprive them from their livelihood. Compared to the 96-mile, 11.8-feet-high Berlin Wall that was destroyed in 1989, the Israel Separation Wall extends more than 408 miles and reaches between 6 and 24 feet high. It consists of solid concrete in some areas and a 40-meter complex of trenches 6 to 8 feet deep, barbed wires, electronic surveillance fences, and patrol roads in other areas. The wall, which swallows more than 42% of the West Bank, is in most areas not on or near the 1967 Green Line that divides Palestine from Israel. It makes its path as deep as 10 miles inside the West Bank and encircles cities like Tulkarm and Qalqilia entirely, thus trapping all in its path and separating Palestinians from their families, homes, land, water, and livelihoods. Numerous villages have already been confiscated. 200.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we had shown you is footage from the village of Na'alin and what is taking place to that village right now, where the Israeli army is confiscating most of the land of that village and building a 25-foot wall between the village and its land. So basically, these people are they're unarmed, and that's all they can do to protect their land. Just go out there and lay down and sit down in front of these big American bulldozers. Well, we do have on the line with us is Grace Oyama. Grace, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Number one, first I want to thank you for waking up early. I know it's 4 o'clock in the morning over there, after 4 actually, in Ramallah. And Grace, let's just talk a little bit about you. You are a Japanese journalist. You work for a Japanese weekly. What the name? What is that? Nippon Weekly?
Nippon Weekly newsletter.
Nippon Weekly, and then you are on special assignment there by American Free Press. And I want to thank you for arranging this interview with Hindi Mesleh. Right now his village is really going through hell as we speak.
Yes.
They just had a curfew that was lifted back on Tuesday. Now tell me, let's talk very briefly about you. You are a Japanese journalist who I had the pleasure of meeting you in person. Why did you want to go to Palestine?
Well, first of all, I really don't think of myself as a journalist, but more like a writer. But I could not just let this wall be built without having done even a little contribution to fight against it.
Okay. Now tell me about what is going on in the village of Na'alin, things that you were able to observe.
All right. Ever since I was born, there was always this Mideast crisis, and it seemed to be very complicated from outside. But actually, when you come here, it's very simple. I've never seen such acts of injustice, and it's just so very visual. And so I think what is happening is that they are building this wall, which is twice as high as the Berlin Wall and 3 times as long. And separating, it's like an open concentration camp. And I'm surprised that I didn't really know about this until very recent.
Okay. Very good. Now, we're going to have Hindi with us in about 5 minutes.
Yes.
And he's, as you know, it's after 4. And, these people have really went through hell in the last few days. They were under curfew. Did you go into the village?
I was there for 1 day of protest, and then that following morning at 3 o'clock, they put the village into curfew. So I got a message from Hindi asking me to go, and which we did, but it was already impossible to enter. How Hindi and some other international people got in is that they ran among the olive groves when the Israeli army was occupied somewhere else. Now, I didn't do that, also because I have a daughter, but I was there to see the whole process from the outside.
So you brought your daughter with you?
Correct.
How old is your daughter?
14.
14. Now, you've seen where this wall is going to go, where Israel is building this wall. Now, what will that do to the village once that wall is built?
Well, first of all, I think it's kind of horrendous that it is Palestinian people's land that was agreed on. All the settlements are illegal settlements that they claim they're protecting. That's why they need the wall. All the water is under their control already. But when the wall is built, it will be physically impossible for the village people to have access to it, and it's impossible for them to leave, go to other villages, or even go to their farms to work, or go to and get health care, or go to the hospital, or any of these things that we take for granted as normal life is impeded.
Okay. Did you see a lot of internationals there in the middle of these olive groves and trying to resist the Israelis?
Yes, I am very happy to say there are many international people here, even if it's just to witness what is going on. And there were already some people who were actually inside the village of Na'alin when the curfew fell. They've been a kind of spending nights there protesting and being there. And yes, from what I saw, I didn't really count, but I assumed that there were at least 30 people. And I'm talking about international people, but I also would like to add very much that there are Israeli people here too, to protest against the wall.
Now, let me ask you this: the internationals, what countries were they from? The people you met, can you name some of the countries?
Sure. There's a lot from Sweden, followed by I met some Dutch people and an Australian and some Americans, and then there's me, Japanese.
Now, these people just decided they wanted to go to Palestine to help the Palestinians. Do they belong to any organization, or is it just people like yourself?
No, there are some people. Seems to be a very active movement going on in Sweden that is connected to the solidarity movement here. And then there are people who come in as tourists and then try to get information about protests and join.
Okay. Very good. Let's see if Mesleh has joined us. Mesleh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I do hear you.
Okay. Hindi, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hindi Mesleh, ladies and gentlemen, he's a freelance photographer. Actually, he was the one who sent out, you've seen the Al Jazeera report that we played earlier, and he's the person interviewed in Al Jazeera, and also he was the one that actually smuggled the pictures for Al Jazeera of what we had shown. Mesleh, what is going on in Na'alin now? I understand the Israelis are there with their bulldozers and trying to confiscate and steal the land of Na'alin. Tell me, what will happen to the town once that wall is built?
Well, Na'alin village is a village that's located in the west bank in the west bank. It's 26 kilometers far from Ramallah. The village is located in the borders, or in the green line. As soon as the wall will be finished and completed, the village will lose 2,700 dunams minimum for the wall. That means that the village will be surrounded completely by the walls from two sides, from settlements, from one side, and from the third side there is going to be a tunnel. This tunnel is going to control the movement of the people, which means everyone will go out of the village or go in, will be checked through an Israeli occupation forces, will check everyone coming in and coming back. The village is going to be a big prison, a big jail. 5,000 inhabitants are going to be completely surrounded by wall and settlement.
Now, tell me about, Na'alin is a farming, and also, there's no industry there. Once this wall is built, that will be the end of the economic life of Na'alin, correct?
Exactly. The village is well known historically that it's a commercial village. It's the center of 7 surrounding villages, which is Budros, Kibya, Shukbash, Der Kadis, Shittin, and Al-Midya. These villages come to the Na'alin village to get their needs of organizational services such as health, education, shopping. In addition to that, Na'alin village is well known as it is a farming land. People depend on farming. As soon as 3,000 dunams will be confiscated and taken, this means that this land that will be taken is the richest land, agricultural land. When 7,000 dunams are going to be left out of 10,000, this is the houses. We're gonna own houses and streets. That's what Na'alin will lose. As soon as the war will be finished, we're gonna face a humanitarian disaster, poverty, unemployment. 80% of people in the village depend on working in Israel. Soon, these people will lose their jobs. In addition to the people that they work in their farms, in their land. So we're expecting a huge humanitarian disaster in Na'alin.
So, I mean, you know, other villages went very much through the same thing as Na'alin is going through now. What do people are talking about in Na'alin? Anyone is talking about leaving the town, since the farmland of that town is basically it's gone, and the access to Israeli jobs, that's also gone. What will people do?
Well, we believe that this is these plans are organized. This is not something new. In 1948, people in Na'alin, Na'alin village owned 58,000 dwells of land. During the war, after the war of 1948, and during the war of 1967, Na'alin land lost 40,000 dwells, which is the hugest amount of land that belongs to the village.
Okay.
In the 80s, in the beginning of the 80s, Na'alin village lost 10,000 dwells more. 8,000 dwells more, sorry, because of at least for expanding the illegal settlement. We call it illegal because the international law consider it as illegal. 8,000 dwells, so there were 10,000 dwells left. Now 3,000 dwells are going to be confiscated, which means this is a plan that the Israeli state is planning to kick out the people from their villages, from their land, from Palestine. It's going to be a very hard time for Palestine.
Okay, let me go to. Okay, let me ask Grace. Grace, did you get a chance to talk to the people of the town there? Did they tell you what they are planning on doing?
No, not really. But all I can say is that it's not just Na'alin. There really is not much other place to go. It is if you see the map of how much Palestine has shrunk, especially the percentage of land that they're going to be left with is less than 11% of what they used to have once all the walls are built. And even within that land, it's isolated ghetto communities, meaning that it has to stop or they would have no future, and I think that's the whole idea.
Okay. Now tell me, when you get there to Palestine and you have to go through the checkpoint, tell us about the checkpoints. How is it easy to travel around? I mean, I know we were going to have you and Mesleh and Hindi on at the same time, actually from the same place, but we realized that at 4 o'clock in the morning it is almost impossible to move around. It is dangerous. You probably lose your life. How is it to go around, to travel around there? Did you find it? Is it easy? Is it hard? Tell me about that.
You mean within Palestine, I find it very easy. I have not had much problem. But it is also true that I thought I would never get here because the checkpoint of entrance, I came in from Jordan, and that's apparently much harder than coming in from Tel Aviv. And it was like several hours that I was there before they would allow me to land, because they wanted to know exactly where I was going. They even wanted to know my daily schedule of what I intended to do. And I was not that well prepared. Information of coming into Palestine was very difficult. Even information about visa requirements for Jordan was not easy to figure out. So I had such vague concepts that I thought they were going to not allow us to enter in. So
I mean, did you tell them what you were planning on doing, or did you tell them you were going to the Palestinian authorities area?
Well, yes, I did make the mistake. I said I was going to Ramallah, which is supposed to be like a mistake. I should have just said I'm visiting Jerusalem or something like that, but I didn't know enough details. I also came here initially to translate for a Japanese naturopath doctor, and he was supposed to go around refugee camps. So, but I somehow managed then that, although I said Ramallah, I was going to go, to other places, and that, yes, he is a doctor, but he's just interested in seeing how things are, but they wanted the idea of the people that this doctor knew, but we did manage. And actually, I have to also add that the woman she was an Israeli woman, and she was quite kind, and helpful. So I just want to add that. But it was a very long time before we got through.
Okay. Now tell me something. I know we have talked about you going to Palestine over a year ago, almost 2 years. Now, tell me about your, I'm sure you expected something. Tell me about your expectations and what did you find out? How is it? Was it like what you found out, or is it different? Tell me about it now.
All right. It is different in the sense that it is a lot of things are just beyond imagination. I think all of us see the world from our own experience, and one can imagine, but it's still colored within the context of what one has gone through in life. Life here is very different, and it is rather undescribable unless you are actually here and experiencing it. And considering all the problems, frankly, let's face it, this is an occupied country in the process of being colonized, or only, to be frank, it looks like it's trying to get eliminated almost. It is that bad. But despite everything, it is almost humbling to see how people get on with their everyday life and continue their life despite all this limitation.
Okay.
And it has been, that experience itself has been worthwhile, and I wish that more people would come because it's quite safe, I feel.
Hindi, tell me, with the town losing that much land, and 80% of the people in the town actually work in Israel, so the economy of that town depends on that. And also you said it was like a hub for another 7 villages who come to Na'alin to either sell their merchandise or probably buy. Now Na'alin is going to be faced with a different day and a different geography that it's going to look like. I don't want to say how do people feel. I think we all know how people in Na'alin feel. But do they believe that maybe this resistance effort, it would change the way? Because I know in some other areas, in some other towns, if the towns really resisted, the wall was probably, the route was rerouted. Is there anything, are you working, or the town people, are they working with the Palestinian Authority or maybe the Israeli authorities to have the route of this wall be rerouted in a different direction?
Yeah, well, just maybe I should explain that Na'alin village is not the only village that is resisting the wall. Now, the popular struggle and the non-violent struggle has become close to a strategy that the whole Palestinian villages surrounded by the wall are taken. We have Bil'ain, Na'alin, Mehasara, and many other villages that's resisting the wall. Yes, we believe that there is no place where we can go. It's the only place that we own. It's our land, our homes. There is no way we can leave the village. We're trying many ways. We're trying the legal way, the legal side, with the help with lots of Israeli friends of us, the Israeli peace activists. They come to Na'alin. They come to the protests. They got beaten. They got shot. Same as us and more sometimes. Yesterday, 5 Israeli peace activists got injured. One of them, the Israeli army broke his leg. Another one shot in the head. As well, in Na'alin village, the army has forced a 4 days curfew. People, they were not allowed to leave their houses for 4 days. We believe that if we keep struggling, we will, yes, we will be able to move back the line of the wall. We have been saying for all our lives that we're ready for a peace with Israel. Israel is the only one that doesn't want to have the peace.
Okay. So, what about the Israeli Supreme Court? Did the village file or petition the Supreme Court, and what was the answer?
You know, it's quite... the Israeli court is the same as the Israeli occupation. It's, you know, we're not expecting so much from the Israeli court.
Now, you know, the International Court of Appeals, they did have 2 years ago, actually 3 years ago, they said that this was an illegal wall. And if the Israeli courts are not responding to your petitions, are you planning on filing suits in the international court?
Definitely. Yesterday and the day before, we had two protests, you know, celebrating the win. We got a victory in the international court for justice. This is a victory for Palestinians. When the international law declared the wall as an illegal wall, this is our victory. Now,
but Hindi,
we count on the international community to start pushing Israel to implement this.
But Hindi,
to tear down the wall. Yes.
Okay. You know, you're calling it a victory, and the victory was a few years back, but we did not see anything. The wall's still there. The wall's still growing. Israel's still building, and Israel will continue building this wall. So even though the international court has said, and you're calling it a victory, I'm not really sure I'm seeing it that way, because who is going to force Israel to do anything? If the United States is not willing to force Israel, no one in the world is going to force Israel. What would the international court, even if they said that this wall is illegal, but there is no way to enforce their decision?
This is what we are saying. We're saying that Palestine has been occupied for the last 60 years. A daily harassment, daily killing, daily arresting. 11,000 Palestinians are arrested in the Israeli jail. Hundreds and thousands of people, they have been killed. Thousands of people have been injured during the last 60 years. We believe that this is the time that the international community should start pushing in Israel to stop its occupation and to start implementing the decision of the international court. It's the duty now. Palestinians done their duties. Now it's the duty of the international community.
So you're really counting. Let me go to Grace. Grace, Hindi thinks that, you know, now the ball is in the court of the international community. But do you think, as being an international, and you know how the international community looks like, do you think the international community is going to come a day where they will do something?
I think they should, though. The whole issue is based on so much illegality, and you know very well that Israel has always ignored all these international laws and has gotten away with it because the rest of the world accepts it. And I think the question of Palestinian issue is very important for the rest of humanity, because I think it is high time that people took more responsibility. And you know, one cannot pretend to be a civilized world or claim there is justice and humanity, and at the same time allow this to happen. And it is also very ironic. Every time there's like a peace accord that Israel is doing or negotiating, fine, but that doesn't stop them from increasing illegal settlements or building the wall. You know, it's a big contradiction here. How can you have a peace accord going while at the same time you keep on building this wall, for example? So.
Okay. So very much, I mean, what you've seen in Na'alin is taking place, and it has been taking place for a few years now, around different cities and different towns in Palestine, and before you know it, life will be choked out of the Palestinian community.
Correct.
What do you think Palestinians will have to do?
You know, I think it is the same question when you confront a big problem. What does one do? I think the answer is in the heart of every human being, and you have to do what you believe to be correct. And I think I don't advocate violence. What else can they do but to basically to fight with their life to protect what believe is justice?
But you know, what I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm looking at the Palestinians now. They are very much surrounded by the wall, and they are still saying to Israel, we want to give you peace. You know, you heard Hindi, who said that we were telling Israel we want peace, but Israel does not want peace. And I'm thinking, you know, why would people blame the Palestinians if the Palestinians finally decide that, you know what, Israelis are putting us in jail, in this huge collective jail imprisonment. We have no other way but to resort to other means to liberate the land. I'll tell you what. Let me go back to Hindi and ask him that question. Hindi, what else can the Palestinians do besides resisting, you know, in an armed struggle?
I don't know. I have no answer. I wish I have an answer. The Palestinians have been resisting for the last 60 years, staying, and we have been doing non-violent and peaceful actions. I wish I know what we can do more.
Because I mean,
I think it's the time that the world should do more. I think it's the time that the world should be more fair with Palestinians.
Well, the world, unfortunately, the world is controlled by the same people that are controlling you. And, you know, here in the States, our government here is controlled by a Zionist regime, just like the Palestinians are controlled. So really, you know, the Palestinians will have no other choice. You know, this peaceful resistance is not working because Israel is continuing to build and the world can't do anything. It's not that the world doesn't want to do anything, but the world cannot do anything when the Zionists are controlling the media in the United States and controlling our own government here, controlling our Congress. There is really not much we can that the world can do. Do you think it's going to come time when the Palestinians going to say, you know what, we tried, this peace thing is not working, we're going to have to resort to something else?
We definitely know that governments will never change, and we definitely know that the governments are pro-Israel. We count on people. I know that there's lots of American people that I see by my eyes those that can hear. Yes, we don't count in governments. And you know something, the olive tree is well known that it stands in the ground. It doesn't go away. It's hard to take away the olive tree from the ground. Palestinians are like olive trees. We're very attached to our land.
Your roots are deep.
We die on it. There's no place where we can go.
Yes.
There's no place where will accept us. So we're gonna stay in these stands. It's going to be hard. Like, Palestinians are suffering a humanitarian, like, you know, hundreds of people are dying. The situation is going bad every day. But there is nothing we can do. Like, even the armed resistance is a right that the UN, the United Nations, gave to Palestinians. And for every nation, everybody will be occupied. He can resist in the way that he wants. We were resisting this way, and we have been accused as we are terrorists. We give up this way. We have been saying that we're not going to the armed resistance. We're resisting in a non-violent way. It's still we're occupied and more.
Okay, Grace, tell me about the Palestinian resilience. How would you describe it?
How they're resisting? Is that what you mean?
No, their resilience, their ability to resist.
Okay. All I can say is it's really admirable. And I also would like to say this. I think it was from Gandhi. He said that the solution to a problem cannot be found in the same level that created it in the first place. So I want to say that, and I think it's, in the end, I think it's a spiritual struggle.
Okay.
More than anything.
Now, we are watching some pictures or some videos where Israeli army in the middle of olive groves and stuff. Did you go in that area?
Yes, I have gone.
So you've seen the people and the army clashing?
Yes, I have seen it.
Tell me, the first time you found yourself in the middle of that picture, tell me, describe your feelings.
Okay, I will try, but first it's like, hopefully you don't die or you don't get hurt, and but at the same time, you forget where you are and about your safety, because you know that this is not right. And I also want to add this, that this is a sensation I got from the Israeli side, at least for the little that I have seen. They also, I don't feel that they're really convinced that this is the right thing to be doing either. I have not felt that kind of sensation. You know, when someone is really convinced that they're acting, even if they're violent and everything, when they feel that this is the right thing that they're doing, they really believe in what they're doing, they give a different aura. I felt that these Israelis, were not convinced of what they were doing, despite everything. And so.
Okay, very good.
So anyway, so that was something surprising to me, and it made me realize that we are all victims of some kind of brainwashing.
Did you think, oh my God, what did I get myself into?
Not really, because I knew when I found out about the wall, I was surprised. I never heard about it before. I knew that Middle East was always in trouble, but no one was really able to explain to me properly. And by coming here, everything has become much clearer. And so, no, I never felt that. I felt that this is something important.
Very good.
Witnessing.
Very good. Grace, I just want to thank you, as we are out of time. I want to thank you very much for being with us tonight and for waking up so early to be on the program with us. And thank you for what you are doing in Palestine to help the Palestinian people. Thank you, Grace. Hindi, Hindi, I also want to thank you for waking up so early, and good luck to you. I hope things will work out and your message to the world is very clear, and hopefully the American people will hear your message and try to do something.
I want to thank you so much for having me in your program, and as well, we count on you. We believe that media is a very strong method to fight as well, and to keep resisting. So we count on you, and we count on people. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Grace. Okay. She is gone. I thought she was still on. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we wanted to bring you the story of the village of Na'alin because it is so important that you see what's going on and you see that this is people's lives that we are talking about here. It's people's future. You heard Hindi said that 80% of that village, this village is adjacent to Israel, what is called Israel, and 80% of those people, they actually work there, so they depend on that for being close to Israel for their livelihood. But the main thing is the village is being also deprived of its water resources and its land, which most people there, you've seen those beautiful olive groves that have been in these families for thousands of years, where these Jews who came from Europe, thinking that God had chosen them to go to Palestine and kill the Palestinians and remove them from their land. And actually, we have somebody?
John.
John? All right, let's see. John, very quickly, we have like 10 seconds.
Yes, is this Dr. Tillawi?
Yes, 10 seconds.
Okay, Dr. Tillawi, real fast.
10 seconds.
What we saw tonight is what was said very carefully, going from occupation to colonialization. What is, knowing with your background in international relations, should this be a one-state solution or a two-state solution?